Good morning, students. I go. Call and response to I go is I may. I go.
I may.
I go.
I may.
All right. Let's sit down in a circle. We're sitting on the carpet right now. Our hands are to ourselves. And together we're going to inhale. Breathe in. And exhale. Breathe out. All right, without touching any of our friends, we're going to inhale, and this time we're going to lift our hands way above our head. And then we're going to drop them down. Exhale. Let it go. All right, friends. Today, we will be doing a read aloud. How many of you are ready to read today for our literacy lesson? Good job, good job. So, who can tell me what they see at night when they look up in the sky? Stars. That's a great job. That's a great job. So today we're going to be reading. Okay, let's sound it out together. Constellations. Who can tell me what they see on the cover of this book? What is that? Stars. Good job. You can see a sky. You can see a night sky. That's a good job. Anything else you see on the cover of this book that says constellations? What do you think we're going to be learning about today? Stars. Yep. Constellations, a true book by Diane and Paul Sipiera. This is our table of contents. The table of contents is where we can find the chapters of the book before we begin reading. So afterwards, when we're finished, if you want to go to a specific chapter in the book, you can go to the table of contents and read the numbers. These numbers are where the pages are. So today, students, you're going to be able to learn about the scientific advancements of ancient civilizations. You're going to be able to understand different uses for constellations and stars. And you're even going to receive your very own telescope so that you can go home and look for the stars at nighttime. How many of you liked the video that we showed about stars and what we're going to be talking about today? That was a nice video, right? Yeah, that was a 2-minute video. Okay. What are constellations? Look up into the night sky on a clear night, and you can see hundreds of pinpoints of light called stars. Good job, good job. Human beings have gazed at these same stars for thousands of years. Some people made shapes and patterns by connecting the brighter stars. Good job, y'all. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. The response is 1, 2, eyes on you. Okay. All right. Today, we call these patterns constellations. Who remembers the title of this book? Let's sound it out together. Constellations. Good job. Today we call these patterns constellations. If you visit a planetarium, you may see a program about constellations. It might show you Orion the Hunter or Gemini the Twins. These constellations may not be as easy to see outdoors as in the planetarium. It does take some practice. Often people expect to see the exact shape of the hunter or the twins. When they don't, they are disappointed. You see the purple box? We're going to read what's in the purple box because it's giving more information about these images that we see here. Okay. The constellation Orion on the ceiling of a planetarium in the real sky, and with the image these stars suggest on the bottom right. So this is what Orion the Hunter looks like, but this is what it looks like in the night sky. So do you see how astronomers and scientists and folks from ancient civilizations would use these patterns called constellations and create their own imagery based upon the pattern that they saw in the stars? Does that make sense? Good, good. Constellations only suggest the things they represent. They were never meant to be exact pictures of people or animals. Ancient people created the constellations to remember important people and events. I'm going to read the orange box now. Here, Gemini is shown in the real sky on a map that shows how the stars can be connected. And with the star picture, you might see if you use your imagination on the right. The Big Dipper is part of the constellation Ursa Major. The Latin words for Ursa Major mean Great Bear. Who can tell me what the Big Dipper is? Have you ever heard of the Big Dipper before? The origin of constellations. No one knows when people first began to create star pictures in the sky. The earliest record of constellations goes back almost 5,000 years to ancient Mesopotamia. Later additions were made by Egyptian and Greek astronomers. A total of 48 constellations appeared on the first star charts. In 1928, the International Astronomical Union, an organization made up of astronomers from all over the world, decided on 88 official constellations. Who were some of the civilizations we learned about who interacted with constellations first? Did anybody hear that detail? Egyptians, Greeks, good job. An ancient Egyptian astronomer and an ancient Arabic drawing of the constellation Delphinus. This is what's here. See? Many of these were made up of stars visible only in the southern hemisphere, Ancient Egyptian and Greek astronomers never knew these stars existed. Although the stars in a constellation may seem to form a certain picture, the actual stars have nothing to do with each other and are all at a different distance from us in space. If we could travel out among the stars, different constellations would have to be invented for the new shapes that we could find. Constellations are entirely the creation of human imagination. In many constellations, the brightest stars have names as well. Star names we use today come from old Arabic ones. For example, Aldebaran, a star in the constellation Taurus, means the follower. The star got its name because it follows the Pleiades, 7 sisters, star cluster across the sky. The 88 constellations we now use have Latin names. Ursa Major is the Great Bear. Canis Minor is the Little Dog. These names remind us of the cultures and astronomers of long ago. This is a historical drawing of a constellation, Canis Minor. Uses for constellations. Ancient people used constellations to help record time. So what were some of the uses of constellations? Why did people use constellations? To help people record time. Good job. In the course of a year, constellations appeared to move across the sky as the Earth revolved around the sun. Depending on the season, only certain stars could be seen. People learned to depend upon these stars as a sign of the changing seasons. The brightest star, Sirius, part of the constellation Canis Major, was seen in the winter. A bright star named Antares part of Scorpius, could always be seen in the summer. Sirius is the brightest star. So what star is the brightest in the sky? Sirius. Good job. When Regulus in the constellation Leo appeared in the eastern sky, it was the first sign of spring. In the fall, Pegasus was high on the northeastern sky. Sky watchers noticed that from spring to summer, the sun would rise just a little farther north each day. The same was true from fall to winter, only this time the sun rose a little further to the south of east each day. The stars also appeared to move across the sky from the beginning to the end of each night. As the Earth turned on its axis, some stars rose while others set. People could look at the sky and tell both time and season by reading the patterns in the night. Though some stars rise and set, others are visible all night long. A star seen all night long is close to the North Pole in the sky. There is one star, Polaris, that is so close to the pole, it doesn't seem to move at all. That is why Polaris is sometimes called the North Star. It is always in the north. For centuries, the North Star has helped people tell direction. Ancient people saw that as the sun travels across the sky, it moves through only a certain group of constellations. This imaginary path in the sky was named the zodiac. It is divided into 12 sections, each of which is named after a different constellation. So what did people see in the sky? People see the stars differently from different places on Earth. A person in the southern hemisphere sees the constellations upside down from their position, as seen in the northern hemisphere. It is no wonder that different cultures saw different pictures in the stars. Modern astronomy often uses names taken from Greek mythology for constellations. The ancient Greeks used the stars to represent their gods and heroes, such as Zeus and Hercules. Parents would show their children the 4 bright stars of Pegasus and tell of a flying horse. The stars of Taurus reminded them of the legend of when Zeus took the form of a bull. To the Chinese, constellations told stories of everyday people, of great generals in battle, or of royal parades. These stars and their stories are used as a calendar to predict seasonal change. The ancient Egyptians had many myths and gods represented in the stars. The brightest star in the sky, Sirius, represented the goddess Isis. When Sirius rose in the eastern sky, just before sunrise, it was thought that the Nile River would soon flood. This would bring new life to Egypt. Pleiades' 7 sisters star cluster was important to many African peoples. The Maasai of East Africa saw this cluster as a herd of cattle. When it was seen in the sky, the rainy season was near. The Bantu people of southern Africa saw the Pleiades as a plow. When it rose just after sunset, it was time for plowing and planting crops. Among Native Americans, the Cherokee tell legends of the dog stars. They speak of a journey through the sky made by departed souls. On this journey, they must pass 2 barking dogs, the star we call Sirius and Antares. If the departed soul feeds only the first dog and not the second, it will be trapped between the 2 forever. Finding constellations. How we doing? We good? Good. It's best to start with easy to find constellations. If you live north of the equator, start with the Big Dipper. Okay? Look in the general direction of north. There you'll see 7 fairly bright stars. 4 of these form a bowl shape, and 3 form a bent handle. Equator is one of our vocabulary words. What does equator mean? Well, in the back of this book, you have your important word list. So, if I go to the important word list, it's in alphabetical order. Equator starts with an E. It says, equator is the imaginary line that circles the Earth exactly halfway between the North Pole and the South Pole. It divides the Earth into the northern and southern hemispheres. So everyone, take out your telescope. This is what you're going to be using to look for the Big Dipper tonight when you go home. Once you have found the Big Dipper, you can find Polaris, the North Star, the 2 brightest stars in the Big Dipper's bowl point to it. A line drawn through the both pointer stars will connect straight to Polaris at any time of night, on any clear night. After you have found Polaris, look for Cassiopeia, the queen. Cassiopeia is always on the opposite side of the North Star from the Big Dipper, and its 5 brightest stars form a W shape. In winter, you can look to the south for Orion, the hunter. In December at 9 o'clock p.m., Orion should be directly south. Look halfway up, and you should see 3 bright stars in a row. These stars mark Orion's belt. Follow the belt up to the right. This will bring you to Taurus, the bull. Now go back to Orion's belt and look down and to the left. Here's Canis Major, the big dog, with the star Sirius, the brightest of all the nighttime stars. From there you can find many others. Where do the stars go during the day? Have you ever wondered why you can't see stars in the daytime? Stars are in the sky both day and night, but bright sunlight wipes out the light from the stars. The number of stars we see at night also depends on whether we are viewing the stars from a city or from the country. Near cities, street lights drown out most of the fainter light stars. This effect is called light pollution. Are we in the city right now, or are we in the country? We're in the city, right? So that might impact our ability to see the stars. We're gonna do our best, right? Because we have our new telescopes. Okay? If you live south of the equator, the Southern Cross is fun to find. Look for two very bright stars close to each other. These are Alpha Centauri and Beta Centauri. They point to the south toward the Southern Cross. The Southern Cross is very famous. It appears on the flags of both Australia and New Zealand. In the Southern Hemisphere, the constellations of the zodiac are usually bright and found high overhead. In July, Scorpius, with its fishhook-shaped tail, is easily seen. The Milky Way is very bright and beautiful here. Once you learn to spot a few constellations, you have made friends for life. The stars that you see as a young person will still be there when you are old. When you see the stars, you may remember what your parents told you about them. You may tell these same tales to your children. When you do, you will be keeping alive the stories of the stars. So what would you create if you could create your own constellation? If you could use your imagination, what kind of constellation would you use? Okay? Let's breathe, inhale together. And exhale. Inhale together. And then shake it out really nice. Not touching any of our friends. There you go. Okay. Exhale, let it go. Okay. So right now we're going to transition to an activity. I'll go.
Amen.
I'll go.
Amen.
Okay, we're going to transition everyone with intentional, mindful, quiet hands and feet. Everyone stand together and transition to your small groups, because I'm going to be handing out your worksheets.